You've then been in the luxurious position of starting businesses from scratch, maybe even acquiring businesses.
We've got to build tools and we've got to scale. And that makes a ton of sense.
I've tried just about every lead generation, demand generation campaign, inbound, outbound.
What I need to do is I need to figure out how I'm going to be able to go out there and scrape LinkedIn or buy a list from Zoom Info or from, I'll go and find out, who are all of the people in this industry who, by the way, have no idea who you are.
Welcome to Outsource to Profits. I have a fantastic guest, Dave. Tell the audience who you are and how you serve the world.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jamie. My name is Dave Sifry, and I am a nerd by birth and geek by training. I'm also a 9-time serial entrepreneur out here in San Francisco, and I am currently the CEO of WarmStart.ai.
That's fantastic. I thought my 3 agencies was a lot, but 9, that is a track record of somebody that can only imagine themselves as an entrepreneur for the rest of their lives.
It's a horrible curse, my friend. But I love waking up in the morning and I love getting to do what I get to do.
That's fantastic. Well, on that topic, so you've then been in the luxurious position of starting businesses from scratch, maybe even acquiring businesses, but you've needed to, in a bootstrap world, generate demand and lead generation to go from 0 to 1, which is, it's like trying to get a rocket off the ground. Or there's this saying, it takes 40% of the fuel of a plane going from New York to London just on takeoff. The other 60% is just to go from the sky of New York into London. So with that point, I've tried just about every lead generation, demand generation campaign, inbound, outbound, channel programs, tried them all. And cold outreach is by far the hardest lift. It's like trying to lift a plane out of the Andes Mountains, so you don't crash into the mountains. It's going to use the most amount of fuel, the most amount of resources and energy. But there's alternatives. And so let's actually frame first question for you is, why do so many companies get fixated on, okay, we've got a little bit of product market fit, it's time to get going, let's start strapping in the BDRs and SDRs for some cold outreach? Why does the average founder or even chief revenue officer's brain divert there versus some other alternatives?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but from my experience and from talking to hundreds of entrepreneurs and business owners, especially in the tech field, what often is the mindset is we've got to build tools and we've got to scale. And that makes a ton of sense, right? I mean, that's how we make these incredible efficiencies in the work that we do. So then they say, okay, well, what I need to do is I need to figure out how I'm going to be able to go out there and scrape LinkedIn or buy a list from Zoom Info or from, I'll go and find out, who are all of the people in this industry who, by the way, have no idea who you are incredibly busy doing the things that they're doing. Like when they hear from you, if they even open that communication to you, they don't trust you, they don't know you. But some percentage of them, if we reach out to a lot of them, we're going to be able to get some response back. And that's the idea. Oh, okay, great. Even though it might only be 0.2% of the people that I do outreach to, hey, you do that to 200,000 people, that turns into some real numbers that now we can go and we can sell to. And what I think that so often these companies are doing is they're sacrificing the long-term goodwill and relationships that they can get. Not to mention, they're also forgetting about the extraordinary number of people who already know who you are and already love you and trust you that you just aren't thinking about doing that outreach to. And sometimes it's not even necessarily, oh, this is the person who is the ideal person to buy my product. Maybe it's, this is a person who knows someone who is the ideal person to buy my product. And they know me and love me. How can I reach out to them and then be able to get them to open their network to me? So it's a difference in category, right? So you can certainly do both, but one is really this idea of cold outreach where like we're going to robotically find. This is now, how can I do warm outreach to be able to reach out to the people who already know me?
And for anybody listening, this is how I built agency 1, 2, and 3 from scratch. I have a book in front of me, and if I should open a page to draw, but essentially the first time that I did this, the first customer that I ever won was in 2011. I won a company called Vision, or 2011 or 12. I won a company here in Toronto, Canada called Vision Critical, a market research company. And so I had done sales consulting for them. And then after winning the business, I had this case study, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I wrote their name on a sheet of paper and I drew a circle around that name. And I would just kind of like stare at it all day long. Like, what do I do with this story? And it was like Doc Brown, hitting his head on the toilet in Back to the Future and inventing the flux capacitor. I didn't invent anything rocket science, but I started drawing spider webs off of that circle. And the concept was, I called it the sphere of influence. If I had a happy customer, I would reverse engineer. Well, where did the people from that company go? Like, who's changed jobs into that business? Who could they refer me to? Who are their competitors and vendors? And I would spherically move from one company to 3 and 3 to 6 and so forth. So what are the mechanics? If you don't mind diving into the details, if you were to get somebody started and they recognize, I call it the sphere of influence, you call it probably something different. How do they make it a reality? What are some tactical steps, tips, tricks, and tactics you would recommend to do next?
Yeah. And by the way, like, you don't need a tool to do any of this stuff. You can do this the old-fashioned way. Now, it turns out that I just happen to build a tool that actually does this and makes it a lot easier for people. But I'll tell you, the reason why I built WarmStart wasn't because, again, I had this amazing moment. It was like, oh my God, I need something that will help me to do this. And so start with the really simple things. Go to your LinkedIn network and look at, who do I know that I haven't talked to in a long time? And like, what are they posting about? What are the things that they're writing about? Can I do some searches? Can I go to a tool like LinkedIn Sales Navigator and look through and try to find, but most importantly, not just people who have never heard of me, the people in my first degree network who might be working at companies that might be interested in what I'm doing. Secondly, think about where so many of our relationships are stored nowadays, right? Is in this massive hunk of an email database that you may have had for the last year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, of people that you've worked with, people who have known you, people who were interns at previous companies who are now VPs somewhere else. So you start going through, looking at who those people are, and now doing some cross-referencing. Where are they today? And then reaching out to them and saying, oh, hey, Bob, I saw that you recently changed jobs and now you work at this really new, interesting company. Can I mention to you that I just built this product that might be ideal for what you guys are doing? Bingo, Bob's going to see that. He's going to say, oh my God, that's Dave Sifry. I haven't heard from him in a long time. And he'll respond, especially because the offer is tuned and tailored directly to him. It's understanding him, where he's at. It's not just some spam saying, gee, you look like you work in an interesting industry at company XYZ. It's from someone that he knows. And even if it's nothing more than, hey, Jamie, it's been such a long time. We should catch up, man. What is going on in your life? How many times have you received an email like that in the last month? When you get one, you start saying, oh, that looks really interesting. Of course, I want to talk to that person. And then we can catch up. And now we can talk a little bit about what you're doing, what I'm doing, and maybe help each other out.
Yeah, there used to be a process, and LinkedIn's changed a little bit of its UX, UI design in LinkedIn Navigator. But I used to take a first degree connection, somebody that I'd done business with, So imagine I take your LinkedIn profile and I put it in Navigator. And what I could do is I could take your entire social network and I would click current company in Navigator. So you become the connection. I go to current company. And what it did is it took your entire social network and it rolled it up in what we call high social proximity. And it showed all the relationships by account that you had. So you'd have 47 people you knew at Microsoft, 22 at ADP, 16 over at Thomson Reuters, and it would go down from there. And I would teach sellers to aim. So imagine me asking you for a referral. Dave, do you mind introducing me to founders? And you're like, founders of what size, what industry, what country, what state? And statistically, you wouldn't do it because I didn't give the guardrails to an ideal customer profile that was very definitive. So in essence, what we would tell sellers to do is go find the top 3 companies. You take your customer, reverse engineer, high social proximity. There's 3 accounts that their spouse works at, their best friends work at. The company shares office space together and they have beers every Thursday. You used to work there. That's where all that person's relationships are centered. And then ask for a referral to the people at those companies because the probability they can open up that door is logical. Otherwise, it's like a random acts of referrals.
Right. And so important to focus on the person that you're actually communicating with. Don't focus on what my ask is. Focus on where they're at. And when people hear that, oh, you've done that research, you know that I know all of these people, you've looked at the things that I'm interested in and that I'm writing about. And, you can give me, say, here's 5 different companies, Jamie, that I know that you know people at. Any of those 5 that you have a good relationship with that you might be willing to introduce me to? Could you make that 1 or 2? Is so much easier for your recipient to be able to forward something along. By the way, that's the other thing you want to do. You want to make sure that you can add in a little blurb that they can very easily cut and paste and now put into that referral email, just making the introduction. And they love it, right? Because it actually is providing a mutual service. 2, it's helping rebuild this connection with someone who is affectionate to you and who you care about. And, if you even think about it purely in a transactional manner, and I tend to not to, I like to think of this relationally, but even in a pure transactional matter, hey, now they've got an opportunity to come back to you and ask you for a favor at some point as well. So you want to build it and make it easy to reach out to just the right person with just the right offer so that they can make the right introductions.
So as you mentioned before, this can be done, if you think about people, process, technology, you yourself have the capabilities to do this. This is just time, money, and energy kind of thing.
Yep.
But do you mind describing, without pitching your wares, but what did you create that solves a particular problem? And it's probably like a big time saver and a scale mechanism, but describe what your solution does.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I wake up every morning. Here's what I do. I wake up every morning. I go to WarmStart.ai. What WarmStart.ai has done, it's connected to my email, which by the way has 15 years worth of all of these emails, with literally all these relationships that I've had over all of these years. It has gone through every single email thread. It's summarized it, and then it's built a little mini dossier on the relationship that I have with every single human being who I have ever communicated with or who has ever communicated with me. Then for somewhere between 40 to 70% of those people, it can even then connect to their social media. So it goes out and it reads their social media on an updated basis and pulls that into this, we call it a briefing, right? A little mini dossier. But what the really core piece of it is, then I can run campaigns that are personalized to those people, what they do, and are tuned to the particular marketing message and call to action that I have. And it only reaches out to the right people at the right time. So let me give you an example of what that looks like. Each morning I wake up and there's 10 pre-written email drafts that are sitting in my email folder. 2 people who have written about things that I care about. Like, so I care about, sales tools and, people. Like, I use this to actually get the first 95 customers for WarmStart, right? Just by saying, look, I want to reach out to founders and to people who are, who have the authority to be able to purchase sales tools. And the AI goes through each of those briefings and it looks for those people. And I say, and these people should have written about something AI related in the last week or so. Great. So now it pulls that in. We, by the way, tune an LLM specifically on my sent email outbox. So it drafts the emails to really sound like me. But it's not perfect. It's an AI, right? Like, so I get to go in there, I look at it and I say, oh yeah, right. There's Jamie. Oh, yeah, no, don't say that. That sounds stupid, but say this instead, right? Oh, Jamie, it was great talking to you on the podcast, right? And then talk a little bit about the message, have that referral link in there or whatever it is that my particular call to action is. And within a minute, I can send that out. And so every day, I'm within 15 minutes each morning, I am editing, sending, or and occasionally you want to be passive aggressive. You're like, actually, I know that the AI thinks this person might be perfect, but no. They don't understand, and I can delete. And then I send them out. And what's remarkable is because these people are getting relevant messages that are personalized, that have been looked at by me, that I've edited and tuned, the response rates are between 20 and 50%. And the kinds of responses where people, oh my God, that's so cool. Dave, it's great to hear from you. Like, oh, I'd love to catch up. And then they'll say, oh yeah, wow, that sounds like a really interesting tool. Hey, I know these 4 people. Let me introduce you to them. And I could have been doing all of these by literally manually going through my inbox, by literally going through all of my LinkedIn. But what I realized was that human beings, we're amazing. If you remind us of someone, we remember our relationships with them really well, but we're absolutely terrible at recalling that person blind. So the AI is so helpful because what it does is it says, dude, you should remember Jamie. Jamie's just been posting about something. And then I go, of course. And now I'll finish that little email and make it really human from me. And that's where it breaks through that block that I've seen so many business people have, which is you sit there staring at your keyboard going, oh, I know I have something interesting to sell, but who should I talk to?
This has been fantastic. How do people get a hold of you if they want to know more?
Yeah, well, so you can come actually to WarmStart.ai and you can actually sign up. We've actually just launched into our open beta and we'd love to get feedback. Honestly, my mission here as a 9-time entrepreneur, I want to help entrepreneurs to be able to get money the old-fashioned way by actually getting great customers and by being able to make money from their customers. So my goal here is get you on there so that you can be using this system to be able to light up your own warm network and be able to build a great business.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much for being on Outsource to Profits.
Jamie, it was such a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.